Well, good morning. I'm Jagendra Rana. So, taking up the topic today, insurance survey reports. Insurance survey reports. See, surveyors are professionals who assess the loss or damage and serve as a link between the insurer and the insured. So, surveyors and loss assessors are service providers to a general insurance company, usually at the time of loss of insured property. So, they carry out claim surveys and assess the quantum of loss. They usually function only in non-life business. Their job is to assess the actual loss and avoid false claims. Surveyors, like agents, are not employees but are independent professionals hired by the insurance companies. They are categorized and governed by the Insurance Surveyors and Loss Assessors Licensing Professional Requirement and Code of Conduct Regulations 2000. So, surveyor and loss assessor investigates, manage, quantify, validate, and deal with losses arising out of any contingency and prepare a report. Insurance risk surveyors carry out assessment of vehicles, buildings, plant and machineries, and other non-life life objects that are insured by individual company. So this surveyors gives a report of the damages, and based on that report, on the amount of losses, the insurance company process the claim. Now the earlier version of the Insurance Act mandated that all claims in the non-life segment above rupees 20,000 had to be surveyed by professional surveyors who are given a license by the insurance regulator. Now this limit has been increased. So a key part of the surveyor's work is to produce reports to help companies decide on terms and conditions of the insurance policies. The insurance business operates on the principles of indemnity, that is, putting the customer in same financial position in which he was immediately before the loss. As there is a tendency on the part of the customer to benefit out of an insurance transaction, the surveyor puts a check on that and assesses the loss. He then gives a report to the company used to settle the claim to the company, and based on that survey report, the company used to settle the claim. Insurance risk surveyors carry out surveys of buildings, machineries, and other sites or items need to be insured. So a key part of the work is to produce report to help the insured in assessing the loss and settling the claim. So insurance surveyors usually specialize in one of the specific areas like fire and perils. So they are the non-motor surveyors. Motor vehicles means to assess the motor vehicle losses. Some are expert in engineering, in liabilities, and other miscellaneous insurances. So the surveyors and loss assessors conduct inspection and re-inspection of the property in question suffering a loss, apart from the examining, inquiring, investigating, verifying, and checking upon the causes and the circumstances of the loss in question, including extent of loss, nature of ownership, and insurable interest, They also conduct a spot and final survey and advise the insurers and the insured about loss minimization, loss control, and scrutiny and safety measures to avoid further losses. They also look into the admissibility of the loss as also the observance of warranty conditions under the policy contract. So, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission in the D.N. Bodhani versus Oriental Insurance Company Limited 2012 held that it is a well settled law that a surveyor's report has significant evidentiary value. It is proved unless it is proved otherwise. So it is an important document and cannot be discarded unless and until any evidence contrary to it is produced. Now the question is, why a survey report is required? See, Section 64 UM2 of the Insurance Act 1938 reads that no claim in respect of a loss which has occurred in India and requiring to be paid or settled in India equal to or exceeding 20,000 rupees, now revised to 50,000 rupees to motor and rupees 1 lakh to fire losses, in value on any policy of insurance arising or intimates to an insurer at any time after the expiry of a period of 1 year from the commencement of the Insurance Amendment Act 1968 shall, unless otherwise directed by the authority, be admitted for payment or settled by the insurer unless he has obtained a report on the loss that has occurred from a person who holds a license issued under this section to act as a surveyor. So this is the legal requirement of the Insurance Act under Section 64 UM. That is the reason the survey report is necessitated from an independent surveyor. As far as rejection of a survey report is concerned, so an independent surveyor is appointed by the insurer to assess the quantum of damage when a claim for compensation is made against any party. So the option to accept or not to accept the report is with the insurer. However, if the rejection of the report is arbitrary and based on no acceptance reasons, the courts or other forum can definitely step in and correct the error committed by the insurer while repudiating the claim of the insured. In the case of Ankur Surana versus United India Insurance Company Limited 2013, Honorable National Commission observed that it is well established by now that the report of the surveyor is an independent document and the same should not be rejected by the fora below unless a cogent reason are recorded for doing so. So the State Commission has stated that it did not see any legal ground before the district forum to reject the report of the surveyor. The report of the surveyor should have been rebutted on behalf of the complainant or petitioner since the respondents, that is, applicants, had filed the surveyor's report as their evidence. So if the report of the surveyor or loss assessor is not acceptable to the insurer, it must specify reasons, but it is not free to appoint second surveyor. Appointment by the insurer of a second surveyor itself would be a reflection on the conduct of the first surveyor, because the surveyor or loss assessor is duty bound to give a correct report. So if the insurance company finds that surveyor or loss assessor has not considered certain relevant points or has considered irrelevant points for any other account, it has reservations about the report, it can certainly require the surveyor or loss assessor to give his views and then come to its own conclusion. But insurer cannot certainly appoint a second surveyor, come loss assessor to counter or even contradict to rebut the report of the first surveyor. Appointment of a repeated surveyor means, regarding Section 64 UM, it is clear that the insurance company cannot go on appointing repeated surveyors for this purpose. We would reproduce or we would refer the case relevant provision of the Section 64 UM which has no claim in respect of a loss while or which has occurred in India and requiring to be paid or settled in India equal to or exceeding 20,000 rupees in value of any policy in insurance arising or intimated to an insurance at any time after the expiry of a period of 1 year from the commencement of the Insurance Amendment Act 1968 shall, unless otherwise directed by the authority, be admitted for payment or settled by the insurer unless he has obtained a report on the loss that has occurred from a person who holds a license issued after this section to act as surveyor or loss assessor. So the relevance of survey report has to be there, because this relevance means the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority has formulated insurance surveyors and loss assessors licensing professional requirement and code of conduct regulations 2000, which regulate the licensing and the work of surveyors. So these regulations stipulates that the surveyors shall investigate, manage, quantify, validate, and deal with losses arising from any contingency and carry out the work with competence, objectivity, and professional integrity by strictly adhering to the code of conduct expected of them. So, these surveyors have the right to submit their report for the losses, and survey report is binding. Under the Insurance Act 1938, no insurer may pay general insurance claim unless a loss adjuster has submitted a report on the loss at issue. The report is not binding on the insurer, which retains the right to pay the claimant a different amount from that contained in the report. However, with the explanation of certain lines of the business, the loss adjuster's report must be submitted, and the insurer must be able to justify any difference between the adjusted amount and the amount it offers in settlement. Because the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission has overturned an order of a district commission awarding an insurance claim higher than that backed by the survey report on the loss in the concerned establishment, while at the same time holding the insurance company in question liable to pay compensation, stating that the survey report is binding unless its infirmities can be listed and proved. In discharging his obligation, the surveyor must act ethically with integrity and objectivity and impartiality. So this includes declaring any specific interest in the loss. Following on from the requirement of act impartially, the loss adjusters must address questions raised by the insured and the insurer. So if a loss adjuster does not conduct himself or herself as expected, the IRDAI may refuse to grant or renew a license, or may suspend or cancel an existing license. Thank you very much.